Hello, and welcome back to Talking to Tequila with Chloe. Happy Wednesday. What a week. I am hoping to be what you need today, which is a little bit of validation and a little bit of reprieve. It's going to be mainly validation, so please buckle up. And I would be surprised if you are not one of the people that this is going to be validating for, because I feel like my platform is so clear as to where I stand on so many things. Of course, today we will be covering very briefly the inauguration. TikTok, it went away, it came back. What the hell is going on? Kim Kardashian, Oscar de la Renta, Elon Musk, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. There's that little bit of reprieve sprinkled in there. Of course, this week's Sava, and Wolfman. Why isn't anyone talking about Wolfman? Now, let's just get the really annoying, messy, depressing inauguration out of the way. Because when I was coming up with what I was going to talk about today, I thought, what did I need from my podcasts this week? And then how can I give that to you? And the first show I turned on was Taylor Strucker, Taste of Taylor, because for me, I know exactly where she stands. I know that I was going to get what my soul needed, which was validation. But then we were also going to have a little bit of fun. Now, I put on about 4 or 5 different outfits for this podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, hey. And a sweater that I did have on was a very bright, colorful sweater. However, I was actually getting so hot, I was going to almost faint or pass away. So I had to turn it off. But just know, I want to thank you guys, the listeners, the viewers, Spotify listeners, Apple listeners, and YouTube, because I did my hair today for the video. I put on a little bit of makeup. I threw on a few different outfits, and I was doing that as a way to prepare for filming and recording, of course. And by the way, take about 15 shots of water, Diet Coke, or tequila already, because I can't stop talking shop. But I actually had my mind taken off the inauguration for about 30 minutes as I prepared for this podcast. So just like I'm going to try to give you a reprieve, you're giving me a reprieve. Now, how do I want to get into the inauguration? The first thing I want to say is, even though it's Wednesday, Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. What an important day of the year. What an important day in our history. And I just want to really highlight Martin Luther King Jr., who really was a beacon of peace, hope, and just a man that we could look up to as being a good person, who put the needs of others in the right thing in the forefront of his practices. And when I knew the inauguration was going to be happening on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, at first I was disturbed. I was disgusted, to be honest with you. How are we going to tarnish such an important day with such a horrible, horrible man, swearing in Trump as president? And then the more I thought about it yesterday, the more I thought, how beautiful that we get to see two such starkly different contrasts on this day, and how, as little as it came across my social medias, I think because, every platform was so inundated with the inauguration, to see such hate coming across our screens, and then every now and again, Martin Luther King Jr. popping up and reminding us, hold on, there are people in this world who are good and who still shine. I mean, I know Martin Luther King Jr. has passed on, of course, but just showing that there are people who have existed and who will exist in this life who still have a good heart, still have a good soul, and still want what's best for people in general, not just the American people, but people. So then I ended up thinking, you know what, that's kind of beautiful that today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. because with all the negativity in the world yesterday and in America, we still had a little glimmer of humanity on that day. Now, with that being said, let's get into the inauguration. First and foremost, before we get into the heavy stuff, let's just have a few things that came across my mind as I was perusing social media yesterday. And by the way, I do think I might have to slightly disengage and log off a little bit because my mind is not okay right now. My mental health after yesterday is just really declining. I have a feeling of total somber, sadness, hopelessness that is kind of creeping into my soul. And I really am going to have to spend some time backing away from it because I cannot let them poison my mind and soul. I saw a really good TikTok yesterday. I think I reposted it, but if I didn't, I'll try to find it again. A girl came on, she's like, yes, Elon just did that. Yes, it is what you think it is. Yes, this is bad. Yes, this is bad. No, they will not take our happiness. No, they will not take our spirit. And I was like, damn, I needed that. It was just a way of saying, like, do not let these people drag us down. Do not let these people infest our minds and souls. We have to try to stay happy, positive people, even in such horrible times. But a few things that I thought yesterday. First of all, as many of us know by now, by the way, I'm recording on Tuesday. Let's get behind the fourth wall. You know me, I'm a sucker for realism. Even though this is airing on Wednesday, I'm recording on Tuesday. So when I say yesterday, of course I mean Inauguration Monday, or as I would like to call it, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Kim Kardashian shared Melania Trump's outfit. I'm talking about being peaceful and positive, but I'm still going to be, a nasty woman here for a second. The way I didn't give a singular fuck about what Melania Trump was wearing. The way I didn't give a singular fuck if the fashions were hitting. I do not care in any way, shape, or form. And Kim Kardashian sharing Melania Trump on her Instagram story, to me actually wasn't surprising. Because in my opinion, when Kim Kardashian did not sever ties with Balenciaga after their scandal, I already knew she had become morally corrupt. And for her, shoulder rubbing with the elites had become the most important thing to her, in my opinion. Because once you start to explain away, being, doing inappropriate things, I don't want to get in trouble. So let me try to be extremely vague. When Balenciaga did a little dance with CP, and Kim Kardashian explained it away for them, in my opinion, I had already known that she no longer was going to be someone that I related to in any way, shape, or form. So Kim Kardashian then sharing Melania's outfit to me was just another way to validate that I had made the right decision about her within the last year or so. Now, it took me some time. A lot of people in my life were surprised that I was still a Kardashian stan. Because I found them to maybe be relatable in sisterhood life, but I'm all the way off of them now, of course. Some other things that were just things I could not care less about, but I clocked in the back of my mind. Oscar de la Renta dressing most of the people in part of the inauguration yesterday is just so sad, but I'm so happy that they were so proud of it and splashed it all over their social media, because I always said, like, if I ever make it in this life, one thing about me, I'll be an Oscar de la Renta girly. Like, I loved their gowns. They were so beautiful, classic, timeless, but innovative. And I shared them all over my stories. Like, I really loved their gowns. And then yesterday, imagine my surprise when post after post after post, they were like, yeah, you like that dress? That was us, girl. Let me show you how I made it. Let me show you how I did it. They were proud. They loved that they dressed the Trumps. And I went, oh, okay, Clocked. Thank you so much for posting that, because now I know when I will make it one day, because Lord knows I will make it. I will not be an Oscar de la Renta. They're in the same category to me as a Dolce & Gabbana now in Balenciaga. Bye. Don't care about you. Don't like you, ugly. Don't look at me. Not that they're looking at me anyways, because I am sitting in my, like little house in the suburbs of Pittsburgh. But one day you will be. And don't ever come for me. Now, let's get into a few of the more disturbing things that happened yesterday. First and foremost, besides a known, in my opinion, rapist being sworn into office, which was, of course, the most disturbing thing, we don't have to really get into that, the Gulf of Mexico, an executive order was put in that the Gulf of Mexico is being renamed to the Gulf of America. That is psychotic. That, to me, shows, like, if you were to say to me, show me a man who never had a date in high school, describe him to me, I would be like, oh, it would probably be a guy that the minute they were put in power, their egos are so bruised from a lifetime of just being an ugly loser, that the minute they have power, they're going to show that their ego's so bruised, they're going to do things like change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And then, lo and behold, look, that happened. Now, let me be really crystal clear. This nation had indigenous people in it before white people got here. So, when you say things like, we hate Mexico, Mexicans need to go back to where they came from, Native Americans are blah, blah, blah. Newsflash, we came into their land and took over. If anyone needs to go back to where they came from, it's us. Like, the fact that we renamed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America when indigenous people were here first, and quote, Mexico was here first, and they are native to this land, it's like, it's crazy to me. And the thing that's really disturbing is, like, aren't there bigger things in this world that we could be let's say America. How about the first day that you're in office, we focus on the opioid crisis? We focus on the fact that we actually did come into the North America and shunned Native Americans into reservations and then charged them $25 for a carton of eggs, in my opinion. Why don't we give them a break? Why do we need to immediately come in and solidify how insecure you are? I mean, I already knew that was going to happen, but I did not realize, when I tell you I didn't think, and by the way, give me a lot of grace this episode. I know I'm kind of rambling, but my mind ain't right, like most of us. I just knew it was going to be bad. I didn't know it was going to be that bad. I knew it was going to be hateful and horrible and discriminatory and cruel. I guess I just didn't realize that. I knew that a lot of really large scale things were going to happen. I didn't realize we were even going to be petty, hateful, and cruel on a low scale too. Like, because it is like just quote changing a name. It's not like anyone's going to be personally affected by that. Like, I know people's lives are going to be ruined in these next 4 years. I just didn't realize we were also focusing on font. And I guess I didn't notice that we were also focusing on titles. But I guess we are. I guess we just need to flex in every way possible how small of a man Trump is. Let's get into Elon Musk. Have you seen it? I know you have if you've been on the internet. What he did, his little arm raise, his little salute. Now, I know that people are saying that his awkward, quote, his awkward and empowered arm gesture is being misinterpreted. Let me tell you something. If you have one semblance of a brain cell in your head, you're aware of World War II. You're aware of Nazi Germany. And you know what else you're aware of? The one signal you don't do. I don't care if his arm wasn't at the 45-degree angle or the 90-degree angle. Like, there's no way you're going to explain away to me what he did, because you're going to say, well, it's not actually the exact salute, so that's not what he meant. Because normally they do it like this and he did it like that. No one in their right mind who is not a neo-Nazi puts a firm, straight hand to their chest, keeps their hand firm and straight, and then rises it up to the sky with a locked elbow. You know what you're doing. You can't explain away to me what that was. And then, oh, it's just an awkward hand gesture in the moment. He turned around and did it again. Same exact effort. Same ugly little scrunched up face with all that hate behind his face. He loved doing it. He loved doing it. And everyone's going to try to explain away what it is. I would love some people to rise up. You know, I understand that it's really murky getting into politics, but it's like, ma'am, the only people I have seen really fairly pissed about this are small content creators and a handful of large content creators. You know, I would love a mega huge celebrity to have posted on their story, what a shitty day. And maybe some did. Drop them in the comments. I would love to follow and support them. Maybe some did. Let me know. None that I saw. It's like, and you want to know why? Probably because, oh yeah, the inauguration had all of America's billionaires there. Now, maybe not every freaking one of them, of course, but all the ones that we know about, all the mega billionaires that run the largest companies in this country, that have the biggest influence in this country, that run the social medias of this country, all of them were there, front and center, wagging their tongues at Daddy Trump. You guys, grow your hair out longer so he can hold your ponytail from the back, if you know what I mean. You all look like such simp losers. Losers. Sitting there, clapping for Daddy Trump like little simps. See, I said I was going to try to be like a kind, sweet, relaxing escapism for you. And I'm going to get off this soon because I don't want this entire, I'm hoping I'm like validating you a little bit, but I'm also going to try to make you feel a little bit better because that's what I needed from Taylor Strecker yesterday and she did give it to me. Let me just say in closing, when we looked back in history at Nazi Germany and we said, how did they let that happen? How did they let that happen? We would never let that happen. We would see it from a mile away. That will never be us. Remember where you stood at this time. Please. And remember that the people that you hate so deeply that you're willing to throw your morality out of the window for, they're human beings. It's like, I also saw a great TikTok yesterday that said people didn't vote for Trump because it's going to help them. People voted for Trump because it's going to make the people's lives that they hate so much worse. And that I also clocked. deeply. Now, let's get into a little bit of tequila time. There's a few things I want to cover, of course, TikTok coming back, and I'm going to do that one first because it really does bleed into the inauguration a little bit, into slight conspiracy realms a little bit. So let's take a walk back down memory lane of the last week. Of course, all week, TikTok was going away. Then a news story would break that, well, Biden said he wouldn't enforce it. And then another story would break that said, well, TikTok said that isn't good enough. Then another story would break that said Mr. Beast is going to buy it. That it was such whiplash, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I couldn't keep straight what was going on. And it got to the point where it was such back and forth, and to me looking like a pissing contest, that I ended up kind of going, okay, good, then just let it be done then. My emotions can't take this. Just take it away then. I can't take the back and forth, and I can't take all these big bad boys fighting. It's like, God, I don't care anymore. Even though I do and I don't. It's like, it became honestly like a who's got more power off, which I'm so turned off by. But then finally, what was it? Saturday night, it looked imminent that it was going to be shut down. And then before we knew it, we started getting these little messages. Oh, in Shu, the CEO of TikTok, he posted this really simpy, cringe video, saying, we would like to thank Donald Trump for his efforts in keeping our platform alive. And it was like so disturbing and disgusting and embarrassing. But nevertheless, even after he posted that, they still shut the platform down. Around, for me, 10:15, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, and the world was kind of shocked that it actually happened. Now, when it did shut down, I had a thought in my mind that it might come back maybe the 21st, after, Trump was put in office, and they would all, shake each other's hands, and the rich would congratulate the rich that they brought back TikTok. Only for TikTok to come back 12 hours later, 14 hours later. And I'm not going to lie, I was very excited when it came back. A little confused about the 12-hour shutdown, but excited. We did it. TikTok is back. But of course, the screen that popped up again was thanking Daddy Trump for bringing back TikTok, which I thought, you know what? Did they, I guess, is Shu trying to maybe stroke Trump's ego, placate him a little bit, throw him a bone, to just have the platform back? I kind of thought, was that what was going on? Stroke his little ego so, he could feel like a big man, but then the platform was just going to be what it was always to us. Boy, was I wrong. I think all of us know by now that TikTok is back, but it is back with some really blatant and disturbing changes. Allegedly, in my opinion, TikTok is heavily censored now. There are many hashtags, Trump sucks, things like that, allegedly. I don't know the exact hashtags, but I've tried them out and seen videos of people trying them out where you can't add the hashtag and you cannot, the hashtag that doesn't exist. You can't link it to anything. Meta has a verified account on TikTok. Instagram has their verified account. Facebook has their verified account. And there's a lot of what it seems to be censoring of negative thoughts toward Trump, the inauguration, Elon Musk. A lot of people are saying that the fires have been censored, which I haven't seen much about the fires. I saw one singular video of a protest down in DC against Trump. So all in all, with Shu posting a video thanking Trump, TikTok being restored with a special thank you to Trump, the fact that there are many hashtags you cannot use related to Trump now. If you search on TikTok, Donald Trump rigged election, no results are found. But people from other countries are posting the same search, Donald Trump rigged election, and it comes up 1,000 videos. So that search is censored. So it seems to me that if you wanted TikTok to come back for your makeup videos, your hair videos, wedding planning videos, comedy videos, mukbang videos, it is back in full force, baby. You can use it till your thumbs turn blue with bruises. But if you liked TikTok for that massive exchange of information, uncensored information, pulling back the veil, free speech, not in a hateful way. You've never been able to, it's not Twitter. You can't be a cruel, hateful person there. You will get a community guideline violation, of course. But in the non-hateful way of just, your opinion on things, exchanging information in that way, that's gone. It's seemingly gone. People are posting their community guideline violations. There was a video of Elon Musk doing his little nasty, horrible anti-Semitic salute. And someone commented, this is horrifying. Because it is. It's disgusting. And that was taken down. Community guideline violation. So it seems to me that TikTok is forever changed in America. And I decided this week, it is seemingly moving more toward that, what do I call it? That, pro-right platform. So, thank you for making it so blatantly obvious, TikTok, what you're doing. I am going to focus heavily on other platforms now. You'll hear it here first, the podcast girlies. I'm going to be putting a lot more effort into my YouTube. And I think I'm going to focus a lot on that. And maybe another platform will pop up that will, tickle my fancy. Of course, I will still post on TikTok, as that still is the most widespread social media platform. And I want to try to find the normal girls and guys and gays and theys and thems and everyone and, welcome them into this fabulous, fun community we have created. And then I'm going to take them and I'm going to put them somewhere else like YouTube. Now, one thing I did notice, because I do try to watch some of my podcast clips back. I know I say a lot. Please forgive me. I'm working on it. Thank you so much. Next, Wolfman. No, I know. Wasn't that? Hold on. Wow, what a harsh transition. I just went from saying TikTok is essentially like simp Donald Trump 911 to being like Wolfman. Wow, I'm so sorry about that. Stretch out a little bit, shimmy your shoulders. That was a big whiplash for you. I apologize. But can we talk about Wolfman now? I went to the movies yesterday. Thank God. I needed a reprieve. And I saw the movie Wolfman. Now, I am a huge fan of what is it? Mythological type of things. Like, I love vampire movies. I love wolf movies, werewolf movies. So of course I was thrilled to see that there was another werewolf movie coming out. And it is the guy from, gosh, I wish I knew his name. It's the guy from Girls. The really charming man with deep, stunning brown eyes that you get lost in, with like curly hair that like flops down to his face. I think he was Marnie's boyfriend that ended up leaving the show because he got into it with Leah Dunham. He stars in it, and the blonde girl from Ozark stars in it. Now, I will say, I would like to see the script that the blonde girl from Ozark had, because it could not have more than 5 words on it in this movie, which was fine. I think her script just said look pensive and look scared, and she did a phenomenal job at that. And I bet it was an easy movie for her to do because there wasn't many lines to learn other than like, or are you okay? Or I'm so worried about you. Like that. But nevertheless, she was phenomenal. So I'm not going to spoil the movie, but what I will say is, even in the preview, you see that, they get into a car wreck. A wolf type figure attacks them, and the husband in the movie gets infected. And then the movie, follows along the progression of the infection and how it relates to the family and the decisions they have to make in regard to that. Now, I do need to say a few things about the movie. First of all, it was fabulous. Fabulous. It was done really well. I'm kind of into right now these suspenseful movies that are coming out that are done really artistically beautifully. The scenery is beautiful. The storyline was beautiful. A lot of these werewolf movies don't have a good storyline to it. They don't have a good home to it. And this one did. You were invested in 2 separate things happening. The family dynamic and what we saw with that, plus the werewolf component of it. It was married beautifully. Now, I would also like to say that I have a change.org petition that I would like to submit. And that is, from here on out, I do believe that we should not let children in movies. I know it's controversial, but I'm sick of acting like we need an annoying little kid in the show. I'm just going to say it. I know that that's harsh. I'm sorry. Lord knows I'm in a mood today. I will say in The Sixth Sense, that child, he did a great job and he can stay in that type of movie. But I think he's the only one that I've ever seen that added to a movie and did not just detract horribly from it. And if I'm wrong, also Cindy Lou Who from The Grinch. She may stay. Outside of that, this little girl in the movie, someone needed to tape her mouth shut. She's like this. Oh, by the way, Dad's a wolf. Okay? That's not a spoiler. It's in the trailer. Dad's a wolf. And she's like this in the movie. Mommy, let him in. It's Dad. And then the mom's like this. Okay. Excuse me? He's a wolf, people. You can't let him in the house. Daddy's gone. And it's always these kids in these movies doing that. It's like, can you pipe down? Your brain's not formed yet. You are stressing me out. Oh, also, Dakota Fanning in Uptown Girls. She can stay. Also, Dakota Fanning in War of the Worlds. She can stay. I'm not an unreasonable woman here. So all in all, I would recommend Wolfman. It was stunning. And I would recommend seeing it in the movies. Oh, also warning. There's a really shocking scenes in that show. Shocking scenes that made me clutch my pearls in my chest. So just please be prepared. It was a little graphic and a little gory and a little shocking. I do now want to transition to the real escapism portion of the show. And then, of course, I will do one more jab at the inauguration before we go. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. They filmed their reunion. There's some clips coming out of it. And boy, oh boy, I would like to start a little conversation about Real Housewives, new franchises, and why some are and aren't successful. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City gave us an extremely entertaining season. I would like to say there were some questions that have not been answered for me that I'm hoping they answer in the reunion. Like, for example, I need to know why, hey, Heather Gay, can you watch this clip? I need to know why you hated Bronwyn so deeply and were so, quote, fiercely loyal fiercely protective of the group, that you're really protective of new people coming in because of what you guys experienced with Monica. And then you find out that your friend Brittany did what you were scared Bronwyn was going to do, which is secretly record the group and then not be mad at Brittany. Like, okay, you were mad for 5 minutes. That's about it. And then I see you posting videos of you guys at the reunion laughing about the fact that she recorded you without your knowledge. Now, do I understand that Bronwyn is a little bit of a hypocrite? Of course. Do I understand she's a little bit two-faced? Of course. Does it bother me that she will have a conversation with a group of people, then immediately go relay that conversation to another group of people and slightly twist it in a way that makes her seem a little bit more innocent than what it was? Of course. By the way, most of the Real Housewives do that in most franchises. That's how the show goes. They divulge information to one group of people about another group of people that they had in a conversation. That's literally how the drama keeps going. Does Bronwyn do it in a way that I kind of don't like? Because she's very like, oh, well, I have to relay to you because I wasn't very happy being part of that conversation. But like, you were in the conversation, so how unhappy could you have been? Of course, I understand all of that. And if you're not a Bravo fan and you're really confused about this, I'm so sorry. Let me give you a little bit of context. In Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, last season, they had a new castmate on, Monica. And at the very end of the season, they found out that Monica had been running a blog about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City that was like a snark blog, that was a negative blog. So all the women found out that one girl that they had been divulging secrets to and speaking to and trusting was actually running a snark account about them. So there was a big loss of trust in that group. And a lot of the women banded together because even though they disagreed in a lot of things and didn't get along in a lot of ways, they realized that they have a common enemy that is greater than, their own disagreements within the group. So then there was a new castmate that came on this year, Bronwyn, who one of the girls, Heather Gay. Did I say Heather Gray before? I could have, but again, sorry guys, my brain is scrambled. Heather Gay was really quite mean to this new girl, Bronwyn. And she kept saying things like, I'm just fiercely loyal of this group now. When new people come in, I have to make sure their intentions are okay. She's two-faced and I don't like that. I don't trust that. But then her own friend, who was also brought into this group new this season, was caught secretly recording a fight that they were having, that all the girls were having. And there was like no realization from Heather that the woman you've been really hard on this season didn't do what you thought she was going to do. And the woman that you brought in that was your friend did do what you were trying to protect the group against. And you literally were mad at her for maybe 11 minutes of the episode. And then you're filming the reunion joking around with her. I need to know the thought process of that. Now, with that being said, I wrote down a list of the newer franchises that have come and gone over the last few years. Real Housewives of Dallas, that has come and gone. Real Housewives of Dubai, that will come and go. I mean, Dubai is not popular. Not a lot of people watch it. It probably has to have the lowest viewership out of all the franchises. I'm sure that will only last a few more seasons, if at all. And then, of course, Real Housewives of Potomac and Real Housewives of New York, the recast, and then the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Now, I need to know why. The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and the Real Housewives of Potomac seem to be the only two franchises that were newer, that really caught on, thrived, and fully solidified themselves into the Real Housewives landscape. No one watches Roni, the reboot. No one watches Dubai. Dallas ended up being canceled. And what is it? Is it the showrunners? is it really the cast? Does it really come down to the cast? Is it just that the women of Salt Lake and the women of Potomac were cast better? And it can't just be, individualized personal preference, because like everyone I know that watches Bravo enjoys Potomac and Salt Lake, and no one watches Roni. Now, I will say that the women of Roni, let's say that's the biggest comparison, because Salt Lake is much newer, and then the reboot of Roni is much newer. The women of Roni are insufferable. They are so unrelatable. They seem wound so tight. They seem like they're, it seems like what they fight about, they actually have to brainstorm. It seems like no fight is truly that important or interesting. And I almost feel like they have to sit up at night and go, what can I fight about? Because there actually isn't any real beef. There isn't any real deep-seated issues. So let me think, like teeth, I'll fight about that. I'll fight about a bag. Like, it's all irrelevant to me. It's all so stupid to me. Also, no one comes off as authentic. It comes off as extremely self-produced, and it comes off that every woman thinks they're a little bit more clever than what they are. Maybe that's the biggest difference. Maybe I just nailed it. I think a lot of the women think of themselves in Roni as grandiose. And I think a lot of the women in Salt Lake are just women. Like, they're just like, hey, how y'all doing? Like, they're kind of just like, oh, cool, we got cast. I'm just going to live my life, I guess. Now, I will say, one thing I want to mention about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is they're getting dangerously close to talking too much shop. And I know that's ironic coming from me, considering I mentioned my own podcast on my podcast about 15 times during my podcast. But I want them to cut back a little bit on involving social media and the breaking the fourth wall of Salt Lake in their own show. Like, it bothers me that there's so heavily a conversation of Real Housewives blogs, what people say in the media, and how that's pulled into the forefront of the fighting. Like, I don't like that. Can we have a little bit more separation of the show again? Before they used to not incorporate breaking the fourth wall at all. And now it seems like it is really heavily accepted, breaking the fourth wall. And I don't like how much storyline in Salt Lake revolves around the blogs and the tea and the dirt. I need them to pull back a little bit. I need a little bit more escapism in that show. Now, of course, I said I was going to do one or two more inauguration jabs before we go. I would like to give a little shout out in this tequila time to Ariana Grande. Because what did Ariana Grande do on social media yesterday? Well, apparently Carrie Underwood, who can be, in my opinion, bought and sold for very little, in my opinion, was singing at the inauguration. And again, let me break my own fourth wall. I saw an amazing TikTok. That's the third time I've mentioned that. Where they said, so I guess when a guy cheats, you slam a Louisville Slugger to both headlights, but if a guy grapes, then you'll sing at his inauguration. Gosh, that's why I love social media. There's so many geniuses out there who can just so poignantly make a video of what I don't even know I'm thinking and just like say it for me. Like, thank you so much, okay? But Carrie Underwood sang at the inauguration. Yikes. Nevertheless, she did, but she had to sing a cappella because there was technical issues. To me, in my opinion, that was God saying, you screwed up. Like, who in the hell would sing at a Grapus inauguration? But I guess you did. Slay Queen. I guess the American Idol money isn't coming through anymore, in my opinion. Slay Queen. But Ariana Grande apparently liked a post where Kamala Harris was photographed behind Carrie Underwood having kind of a stank look on her face. And it said, Kamala Harris evoking Coco Mantis. And apparently that's a call to RuPaul's Drag Race, where I guess Coco Monteith, I hope I am saying her name right, told someone to find the note or find the key, as in they were off, like learn how to sing. And Ariana Grande liked that post, essentially saying, Carrie Underwood, find that key, girl, because you're not in it. At least that's what I deduce from the like. And I would like to say Ariana Grande is one of the people that posted during the election that she had just voted and she added Kamala Harris. So to me, that was a very clear Instagram like. That was intentional. That was saying Ariana Grande to Carrie Underwood, yikes, girl, ew. And for that, I would love to say thank you, Ariana Grande, for being one of the celebrities that knew exactly what she was doing when she'd made that little like on that post. Or maybe you didn't, and thank you again for just not giving a rip and posting what you wanted to post or liking what you wanted to like. Now, this week's Sava goes to the Queen, Michelle Obama, because she is also one of the girls who made it very clear that she's not down. A lot of people played nice. Obama showed up looking dapper, looking stunning, doing his due diligence, doing his duties. Now, I believe Obama showed up because I think he wanted the American people who had voted left. I think he wanted to remind them, hey guys, people like us still exist, and maybe behind the scenes we're trying to make sure the country doesn't go all to shit. I think George Bush was there, even though he is, in my opinion, a war criminal. Joe Biden and Barack Obama, they all wore blue ties, which people said was a signal to trying to hang on to democracy. And so while some people were trying to play nice, or at least be maybe semi-professional, Michelle Obama said, no, bitch, not me. I'm not going to be there. You won't be catching me photographed at the inauguration. I'm not here to play ball, and I'm not here to play nice. And for that, thank you, Queen. I love you. I always did love you. I always will love you. And little things like that let me know that there are some people that we can count on to still say, fuck you. You're a rapist, and I won't have any part of your inauguration. Allegedly, in my opinion. So Michelle's a queen, as always. Her husband, I know, had to just go and show face. I get it. I'm guessing he's trying to play semi-nice to maybe still try to have some, this is all just my opinion and speculation, hope for the American people. I would like to say, though, I'm going to need to see a little bit more people being crystal clear. You know what I mean? Like, I hope Michelle can influence a few people, that they don't have to necessarily keep their head down and stay in line, Do what you want to do, so long as it's in the bounds of legality, Let people know where you stand. I know in 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 years, if I'm not in, if we're not in a complete communist dictatorship, I'll look back on this time and be very proud of what I represented during this time. Now, did I let you guys know that I was going to give you a little bit of escapism and a little bit of validation? I did. Did I think mainly most of this was validation? It was, and I apologize. I do hope if I didn't make you kind of forget about the inauguration, I do hope that I at least made you feel a little bit better that, not all of the world is delusional in thinking that, we elected someone that's going to, quote, turn the country around. There's still some people out there with a brain between their 2 ears. That's me. Hi. I'm not the problem? Yes. And I would like to close out with one more thing. Apparently on TikTok yesterday, when you searched the smallest man who ever lived, apparently that would autocorrect to the smallest woman who ever lived. And that was the only search that was coming up. You couldn't search the smallest man who ever lived. Apparently, you could only search the smallest woman who ever lived. Now, when I tried to search that, I did not have that experience. I could search the smallest man who ever lived. However, right under it, the smallest woman who ever lived did pop up. Was that intentional? It kind of seems that way. It seems like it was a little jab because, Trump has, TikTok apparently has become like a, daddy Trump land. And, Trump has said before that he hates Taylor Swift because she endorsed Kamala. So it did seem intentional. I would just like to say, though, if this week represented anything, it represented the smallest men who have ever lived. Mark Zuckerberg, I clocked you at the inauguration, you absolute bag. Jeff Bezos, you're ugly. Elon Musk, you're a freak of nature loser, and I hate you. Donald Trump, you are the ittiest, bittiest, teeniest, tiniest freak man who ever lived. What's his little sidekick's name? JD Vance? Vomit. By the way, JD Vance, how do you feel that you are so irrelevant that when we talk about the inauguration, you don't even come to mind? Because Daddy Trump and all his other little followers are more famous than you and more prominent than you, in not in necessarily a good way, right? Because they're all famous for being horrible. But man, is that a blow to your ego? I almost didn't even put you on the smallest men who ever lived list. That's how irrelevant you are. But I would just like to say, not only did I clock all of the smallest men who ever lived, I clocked all the smallest women who were arm in arm with them. I hope you look back on this time in history and it is a stain on your name. I hope you're embarrassed by it. And I hope they write about you in the history books as being compliant. Now, I am hoping by next week, the disdain that is saturated into my brain seeps out a little bit and I can give more of a funky, fresh, fun time. But this week it needed to be done. And I do apologize for that. But it had to be done. I'm sorry. Now, Michelle Obama, I love you, girl. Ariana Grande, you're a queen. And until next time, this is Chloe signing out to Talking with Tequila with Chloe, your semi-escapism for the week. Bye.